Welcome to Bio, San Diego. Welcome to the BioProcess part of the exhibit hall. Let's get ready to rumble. All right, so 50 years ago, as you've seen from the signage, two guys met in a bar in Hawaii. That's Robert Swanson, biochemist, and Herbert Boyer. Actually, I think Swanson might have been the venture capital guy for Kleiner Perkins. I'm not even sure it was called Kleiner Perkins back then. Small investment, using academic labs to do the proof of principle. Sorry. Thank you. And that was 76. So in 1980, you had your first biotech IPO. So why would I bring that up? I'm pausing for dramatic effect. It's rhetorical, right? The reason I bring it up is just if you think about it, when you look at the conversations that have influenced you, how many of them have been the serious ones with your boss or your boss's boss or your accountant? And how many have them been at a bar or in a coffee line? The ones that have impacted you and actually made you look at something in a different light and changed your opinion about what's possible and what kind of risk you're willing to take. And that's one of those amazing things about biotech. Unfortunately, the story gets a little sadder. Yesterday I went and spoke to about a dozen really interesting groups here in the exhibit hall, and I asked them which soccer team they were supporting. And it was quite interesting, the ones who had zero interest in soccer were actually quite happy to tell you exactly how little interest they had in soccer. The other ones, of course, were passionate. Now, to use that as a metaphor for where the biotech industry is right now at this moment is, it's like a soccer team is 2-0 up at half time and it's just playing to protect its lead. And I've been in this industry for 30 years. I created the Human Proteome Organization with Ian Humphrey-Smith 25-ish years ago. A lot of my conferences are still running. Pep Talk here in San Diego 25 years later. A couple of years ago, I co-created the Alliance, apologies Mario Ruffin if you're around, the Alliance for mRNA Medicines, and sat with Biden cabinet members and the senators who spend this country's money talking about mRNA, which subsequently became a four-letter word, right? But it's the lack of risk and the lack of ability to understand risk. And you look at the Biosecure Act, where WuXi AppTec is now questionable as a business partner, and you've seen LinkedIn posts where it's bifurcating those who are working with that, guessing that that will be relinquished, and those who are not and won't be prepared when there isn't that capacity. So, the last thing before I hand it over to my more than competent colleague, Eden Turner, who happens to be a world-class racing cyclist, is that in September in Boston, we're putting in a lot of really interesting elements that you might want to check out. I'm calling it Fun for Young. It's called a campus, but we've got a university challenge set of 8 teams competing against each other. We've got a lot of career advice for early, mid, late career. We've got a lot of how to navigate an exhibit hall if you've never seen one before. But there's a lot of other things that are including live LinkedIn coverage of this event as it's happening. And this goes back to the venture capital came from the word adventure. And I strongly suspect we're losing our way in the biotech industry for the adventure part of that equation. So I'll now hand it over to Eden Turner. I will see you all here later today when I'm running a few interviews and panels.